Welcome to the deep dive. We've heard your interest in really understanding the dynamics of power, and that's exactly what we're jumping into today.
Yeah, we're focusing on 5 specific laws from Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power.
The goal isn't just to list them, but to really unpack them for you, the listener get into the why behind them.
Exactly. We've gone through the source, looking at Law 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. We'll dig into the history, the practical advice, the do's and don'ts.
Hopefully provide some real aha moments, make this sometimes dense topic feel a bit more accessible.
It's about understanding the forces at play, not necessarily a manual for,
Mm.
well, manipulation.
Right. More like a toolkit for recognition. So let's kick things off with Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker seem dumber than your mark.
Okay, the core idea here is pretty strategic, actually. If you make other people feel smarter than you, they tend to drop their guard.
They become less suspicious.
Precisely. People generally don't like feeling intellectually inferior, so they warm to those who seem less bright. It makes them feel secure.
Greene uses that wild story about the 1872 diamond mine scam. And the fascinating part isn't just about fake diamonds.
No, not at all. Initially, this financier, Asbury Harpening, was super skeptical. Diamond mine in America seemed unlikely. But Baron Rothschild was like, hey, stranger things have happened.
So Harpening goes to San Francisco, and these two prospectors show up, Philip Arnold and John Slack, and they seem, well, completely unsophisticated.
Yeah, like total country bumpkins. They were really careful not to reveal the mine's location, led this expert on a roundabout trip, but the expert did find real diamonds. Lots of them.
Okay, so the initial verification wasn't the scam itself. The diamonds were real at that point.
Right. Then they take the show to New York. Harpending and a bank owner, Ralston, bring Arnold and Slack to see Charles Tiffany, the jeweler.
And the prospectors really ham it up, acting all nervous around the city slickers, worried about being cheated.
It's brilliant, really. This feigned naivete. They get a big upfront payment to calm their supposed nerves. They meet all these bigwigs, McClellan, Butler, Greeley.
But act like they're just there to see the sights.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Tiffany confirms the gems are worth a fortune, and the financiers are practically drooling. They bring in Rothschild, more investors, but they want one more check.
Their own expert, Louis Janin. And Arnold and Slack kind of reluctantly agree.
And Janin, known for being critical, goes out there, digs around, finds more gems, diamonds, rubies, sapphires. He declares it the richest find ever.
So even the skeptical expert is totally convinced because the initial setup was so believable.
Absolutely. Their act was so good. So this huge corporation gets formed. But the financiers, they want the mine cheap.
So they try to play the prospectors.
Right. They pretend to doubt Janin's report, tell Arnold and Slack they'll get ripped off if they keep shares, convince them to sell their rights for $700,000, a huge sum then, but peanuts compared to the supposed value.
And the simple prospectors agree, hand over maps, take the money.
And disappear. And of course, when the financiers go back.
Nothing. It was all a setup. They'd salted the mine with gems they'd bought beforehand.
Exactly. The genius wasn't fooling experts with fakes. The gems were real initially. The genius was the performance. Playing dumb so convincingly that no one could believe they were capable of such a massive fraud.
They were blinded by their own feeling of superiority.
Totally. They couldn't imagine being outsmarted by these guys. It really shows how assuming you're the smartest person in the room can be your biggest weakness.
Greene also gives the example of Bismarck and Count Blum. Bismarck needed Austria to sign a treaty.
That heavily favored Prussia. And the Austrian negotiator, Blum, had this quirky belief that he could size people up by playing cards, specifically a game called Kins.
So Bismarck uses this.
Oh, absolutely. The night before negotiations, Bismarck deliberately plays Kins with Blum, plays terribly, recklessly, loses money, acts impulsive, and frankly, a bit dense.
Making himself seem like someone who couldn't possibly pull off a subtle diplomatic trick.
Precisely. Blum walks away thinking Bismarck is maybe a bit rash. Certainly not cunning. So the next day, when the treaty is put in front of him,
he barely reads it.
Just signs it, completely missing the clauses that gave Prussia the advantage. Bismarck basically played on Blum's vanity about his own judgment.
Wow. So it's about tailoring the dumb act to the specific person.
Yes, that's key. So if we're talking do's for this law.
You do want to let people feel smarter than you, subtly reassure their intellect.
Do make yourself seem less sharp than you are. Downplay your talents sometimes.
And the don'ts.
Definitely don't accidentally insult someone's intelligence. That's just counterproductive.
And crucially, don't let them see you as obviously superior intellectually.
Right. Practical takeaways. In negotiations, let the other side feel like they're the smart ones, driving the deal.
Especially with arrogant types, maybe act a little naive to lower their guard.
Exactly. Be aware of intellectual vanity. And sometimes, seeming less competent than you are can deflect scrutiny or let you manage expectations. Okay, ready for the next one?
Let's do it. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. Sounds paradoxical.
It does, doesn't it? But the idea is that when you're weaker, outright fighting is often suicide. Surrendering or appearing to surrender buys you time.
Time to recover, regroup. Maybe even annoy your conqueror.
Yeah, and wait for their power to shift or fade. You deny them the satisfaction of crushing you in a fight, which can be psychologically unsettling for them.
Greene uses the Malians as a transgression, a don't do this. What happened there?
Ah, the Malians. During the Peloponnesian War, Melos was this island, strategically useful, loyal to Sparta, but Athens was the big naval power. Athens shows up and demands they surrender.
Just like that. Submit or else.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The Athenian argument was pure power politics. The strong do what they can, and the weak suffer what they must. Might makes right, basically.
And the Malians?
They appealed to justice, fairness, help from the gods. Maybe Sparta would step in.
Hopeful, but maybe not realistic.
The Athenians certainly thought so. They dismissed it all, said Sparta wouldn't risk it. But the Malians prioritized honor, resistance. They refused to yield.
And the outcome?
It was brutal. Athens invaded, the Malians fought bravely, but were crushed. Sparta didn't help. The Athenians killed the men, enslaved the women and children, and resettled the island. A total wipeout.
So the lesson is, fighting for honor when you have no chance just leads to destruction.
That's Greene's interpretation. Martyrdom without gain. Maybe surrender would have allowed for survival, maybe some form of resistance later. Fighting a losing battle achieved nothing but their own annihilation.
A harsh lesson. But he contrasts this with Bertolt Brecht, the playwright.
Right. Brecht, a known communist, was living in the U.S. and got subpoenaed by the House Un-American Activities Committee during the Hollywood blacklist era.
The infamous HUAC. And some Hollywood figures planned to be confrontational, right? The Hollywood 19.
Yes, they wanted to challenge the committee's legitimacy directly. But Brecht disagreed. He thought that was just asking for trouble, pointless martyrdom. He had a different strategy.
The surrender tactic.
Exactly. He decided to appear cooperative. He showed up, wore a suit, smoked a cigar like the chairman, was polite, deferred to their authority, played the part.
He did. He answered truthfully that he wasn't currently a Communist Party member. But when they asked about his writings, his plays,
What did he do?
he insisted on using an interpreter, even though his English was decent. This let him play with the translations, downplay the revolutionary meanings, claim the English versions were very different from his German originals.
Clever, using language itself as a shield.
Totally. The committee was satisfied, thought he was cooperative, dismissed him, even offered help with his visa,
And Brecht.
left the country the very next day. While the Hollywood 19 faced blacklisting and ruined careers, Brecht used apparent surrender to escape and keep working.
He outfoxed them by seeming to yield.
That's the point. It wasn't real surrender of his principles, but a strategic performance to achieve his goal. Freedom. So, the dawns here.
Do yield outwardly when you're outmatched. Bend, don't break.
Do use non-resistance to neutralize aggression sometimes. Appear compliant while staying firm inside.
Do see surrender as a tool, maybe to lull the enemy.
Yes, and the don'ts. Don't fight purely for honor if it means annihilation.
Don't get sucked into overreacting to your rival's moves. Stay calm.
And don't genuinely give up your core goals or freedom. It's a tactic, not a capitulation.
Exactly. Practical takeaways. Strategic retreat can buy time. Denying an aggressor a fight can disarm them psychologically. Focus on the long game, not costly short-term stands. Control your reactions.
Okay, that makes sense. Moving on to Law 23, concentrate your forces.
This one feels more straightforward, maybe. The idea is simple. Focus. Don't spread yourself thin. Find one rich source of power or support and mine it deeply.
Like focusing energy.
Exactly. Intensity defeats extensity. Greene's example of not doing this is the ancient Chinese kingdom of Wu.
What went wrong there?
The king got obsessed with conquering the powerful Middle Kingdom to boost his own status. It turned into this long, drawn-out war.
Winning battles but maybe losing the war?
Kind of. Victories in one place left them weak elsewhere. And his chief minister, Wu Susu, kept warning him about another state, Wei to the south, a potential threat they were ignoring.
But the king didn't listen.
No, totally dismissed it, fixated on the main war. Wu Zixu was so sure they were doomed, he sent his own son away for safety. The king saw this as betrayal, ordered him to commit suicide.
Ouch. Did the minister say anything before?
Yeah, his dying words basically predicted Yu would conquer Wu. And sure enough, a few years later, while Wu was still busy fighting the Middle Kingdom,
Yeah, attacked.
they did, invaded, and Wu, weakened and distracted, collapsed. The king, full of regret, killed himself too.
So the lesson is don't get tunnel vision. Don't ignore other threats while pursuing one big goal.
Right. Overreaching, dissipating your strength, ignoring dangers on the periphery, it leads to ruin. You have to consolidate.
Which brings us to the observance.
Yeah.
The Rothschilds, they did concentrate their forces.
Massively. Started relatively small in the Frankfurt ghetto, but Mayor Amschel Rothschild had a plan. First, ally with one powerful entity, the Thurn and Taxis family. Become their banker. Then, crucially, keep the business in the family. He set up his 5 sons in the key financial centers: London, Paris, Frankfurt, Vienna, Naples.
A network, but a tightly controlled one.
Extremely. They had the fastest courier system, giving them an information edge. They communicated internally in Frankfurt Yiddish and code, keeping secrets locked down.
And that famous policy of marrying within the family.
Yeah, mostly first cousins. It was about keeping control, keeping wealth and knowledge concentrated, excluding outsiders. Like Solomon Rothschild said, it was like a watch, all parts moving together, inner workings hidden.
And it worked. They became incredibly powerful and resilient.
Through intense concentration and unity. So the do's are pretty clear.
Do conserve your energy. Focus on your strongest point.
Do find that rich mind could be a skill, a market, a patron, and dig deep.
Do aim for single-mindedness on your main goal.
And the don'ts. Don't scatter your resources.
Don't wander from goal to goal. Stay focused.
And don't think you can serve multiple masters equally well. Find your key source of support.
Practical takeaways. Identify your core strengths and double down. Nurture key relationships. Prioritize depth over breadth.
Simple concept, powerful results. Okay, next up, Law 24. Play the perfect courtier.
Courtier. Sounds a bit old-fashioned. Like knights and castles.
Greene argues the court still exists wherever there's power. Your workplace, social groups, politics. Anywhere with a hierarchy. And the courtier is someone who knows how to navigate that hierarchy successfully.
So it's about office politics, essentially, but maybe more subtle.
Exactly. Mastering indirection, flattery, but not too much, knowing when to yield, how to assert power obliquely. It's an art form.
Okay, so what are the rules of this modern court? Greene lists quite a few.
He does. Let's run through some key ones. First, avoid ostentation. Don't brag, be modest. Let your work speak, don't constantly talk about yourself.
Practice nonchalance. Make difficult things look easy. Don't seem like you're trying too hard, even if you are. Effortlessness is impressive.
Be frugal with flattery. Too much seems fake. Indirect flattery often works better, like downplaying your own role to make a superior look good.
Arrange to be noticed, but subtly. Develop a distinctive style or image without being flashy or attention-seeking.
Alter your style and language. Adapt to who you're talking to. Don't assume everyone communicates the same way.
Never be the bearer of bad news. If possible, let someone else deliver it. Try to be associated with good news.
Never affect intimacy with your master. Maintain a respectful distance unless they initiate closeness. Don't presume friendship.
Never criticize superiors directly. This is huge. If you have criticism, frame it indirectly, politely. Subtlety is key.
Be frugal asking for favors. Ask rarely, know when to back off, earn favors, don't beg, and never ask on behalf of others.
Never joke about appearance or taste, especially with superiors. Very sensitive areas.
Don't be the court cynic. Express admiration for others' work. Constant negativity reflects badly on you.
Be self-observant. Understand how others see you. Crucial for adjusting your approach.
Master your emotions. Hide negativity. Fake positivity when needed. Maintain composure.
Fit the spirit of the times. Stay current, but don't be so radical you alienate people.
And finally, be a source of pleasure. Be charming, agreeable. People are drawn to those they enjoy being around. Control your unpleasant qualities.
Wow, that's a lot to keep track of. It sounds exhausting.
It is a delicate game. Greene uses several scenes of court life to illustrate these points, both successes and failures.
Like Alexander the Great and Callisthenes, the lesson being direct criticism of the boss is foolish.
Exactly. Or using symbolic language to warn a ruler, like in the Chinese Chronicles, making the master feel brilliant. like Mansard did with Louis XIV.
Trying to please multiple bosses at once, like Isabey, very tricky.
Hmm.
And Beau Brummel joking about the Prince Regent's appearance, fatal mistake.
Right. Being obsequious about taste, Pope Urban VIII, not overstepping your job description, ruler Charles Crown Keeper,
Aw.
offering talents as gifts, Fra Filippo Lippi.
Not asking for too much, Alfonso the Sir Servant, placating rivals, Turner versus Lawrence, even powerful people playing the courtier, Churchill and Luce. Each tells a small story about navigating power.
And he ends with a warning. Talleyrand trying to play practical jokes on Napoleon.
Yeah, the boar hunt, the rabbit hunt. Napoleon wasn't amused.
Not really. Talleyrand almost went too far. The point is, even if you're a master manipulator, don't let your tricks be seen. Don't get caught. Miscalculations can ruin you.
So the big takeaways for playing the courtier.
Understand the unspoken rules of your environment. Develop social intelligence. Prioritize the comfort and ego of those in power.
Master subtlety and indirect influence. It's about navigating, not necessarily manipulating in a negative way, but understanding the dynamics.
Precisely. It's about skillful interaction within power structures. Okay, final law for this deep dive. Law 25. Recreate yourself.
This sounds more empowering. Don't just accept who society says you are.
Exactly. Forge your own identity. Create a persona that commands attention, that isn't predictable. Be the master of your own image. Don't let others define you.
And the prime example is Julius Caesar.
Yes. Greene argues Caesar was a master of self-creation. Early on, funding those huge public games, beast hunts, gladiators wasn't just generosity, it was crafting an image. The popular showman.
Building his brand, basically.
Totally. Crossing the Rubicon. He framed it dramatically, divinely inspired, using gestures and oratory to sway his nervous generals. In battle, he played the part of the fearless leader, always visible, inspiring loyalty.
After winning, more spectacle.
Oh yeah, mock naval battles, huge building projects. He constantly managed his image. The purple robes, the laurel wreath to hide his baldness, turning a flaw into a symbol.
Even his death was dramatic, theatrical.
Right. Greene says Caesar understood power as theater. He made himself the star of his own show. A powerful example of controlling your narrative.
The other example is George Sand, Aurore Dupin de Vaux. A woman writer in 19th century France faced huge obstacles.
Massive limitations. So she didn't just write under a male name. She became George Sand. It was a total recreation.
Wearing men's clothes, smoking cigars, talking assertively.
Things that were shocking for a woman then. But this persona fascinated people. It gave her access to male artistic circles, freedom in her relationships. Things Aurore Dupin might never have had.
So the persona was a kind of armor or a key?
Both. Probably.
Okay.
And she didn't just stick to one version of George Sand. She kept evolving, getting into politics, activism, keeping herself interesting, unpredictable.
She refused the limits society tried to put on her by inventing someone who could transcend them.
Exactly. She controlled her own image and made people pay attention. So the do's for recreating yourself.
Do take control of your public image. Actively shape it.
Do remake yourself into a character of power. Create someone memorable.
Do use drama, surprise, suspense, symbols. Be aware of your audience.
Do orchestrate your appearances. Use timing. Learn to play different roles. Be adaptable. Protein.
And the don'ts.
Don't just accept the role society gives you.
Don't be overly sincere or transparent in public. Manage your image.
And don't overact. Keep it believable. Avoid melodrama.
Practical takeaways here seem pretty profound. Be conscious of your self-presentation.
Yeah. Think about the persona that served your goals. Cultivate adaptability. Use timing and maybe a little drama strategically.
Okay, so that covers the 5 laws we set out to explore today.
It does. We've journeyed through Law 21, seeming dumber, Law 22, the surrender tactic, Law 23, concentrating forces, Law 24, playing the courtier, and Law 25, recreating yourself.
We looked at the core ideas, the historical stories Greene uses, the do's and don'ts, and tried to pull out some practical insights for each.
And hopefully by digging into these, you, our listeners, have gained some useful perspectives on how power operates, how people navigate it, or fail to.
It's a framework for seeing patterns maybe in your own life, professionally or personally.
Definitely food for thought. As a final takeaway thought for you to consider, which of these 5 laws felt most relevant to your own experiences? Or which one seems like it holds the most potential, or perhaps the most danger, if you were to apply it?
Thinking about how actively managing your image and understanding these dynamics might shape your own journey is, well, it's a powerful idea in itself.
Indeed. And with that, we can confirm we have completed our deep dive into laws 21 through 25 of Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power.